We're on a retro trek with the Caramel Apples, part 2.
With your host, Kennedy Rizzo.
And Cooper Lee. So before we get started today, like we said, this is part 2 to a conversation we had previously. But what we wanted to do is definitely make note of a disclaimer. Because anytime you get into the health and beauty realm, you always want to, let people know that we realize this could be sensitive. This could be a triggering subject for, some listeners out there.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we're not giving any medical advice and... Or pushing any diet or physique ideals out there to anyone. Because truly, everybody's ideas and opinions on topics like these are just as unique as they are. So we want to say always seek professional assistance from your healthcare providers, okay? We are strictly an entertainment place.
That's right. Yes, Coop, and thank you for that disclaimer because, you just can never be too careful and... a lot of the things we talk about are from our recent retro past, but things have changed so much. Like, our thinking sometimes is a little bit mosaic. We just will say we're talking and having a good time, and we don't know if something might come across not the way we intended. So I do think the disclaimer was a nice touch.
Yeah, and I think about like with disclaimers, they'll even put it like on TV shows when there's going to be like a lot of flashing lights and stuff. They're like, because that could easily affect people.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
You never know, and we never want to do harm or damage to anybody. We just want to have a good time.
That's right. We love our archivers.
We do.
So, having got that accomplished, last time we spoke a bit about, in part 1, was what was more commonly seen or witnessed by way of retro diet, exercise, and beauty trends back when we were coming up in the, the 70s and the 80s. So, there were so many things we remember fondly, and we mentioned a few of those in our part 1 discussion last week, which was a couple of those there, Cooper, on your list.
Well, the cabbage soup diet was...
Oh, yeah.
was definitely one that people massively flocked to.
Yummy.
Yeah, the 3-day diet, also known as the military diet, and one for a famous... star, the Elizabeth Taylor diet.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of those and more offered up a quick and hopeful fix to anyone, who wanted to get ready for pool and beach season. But a lot of those proved to be predictably short-lived in terms of the results, what people really could realistically expect when going on these crazy diets.
Right? Because why do we do self-sabotage like that? Like, okay, I had a whole year or I had a whole 6 months and I'm going to wait 3 days before the event.
Oh, silly humans.
Yes, we do this all the time. So kind of set ourselves up for failure. And like we mentioned before, we made up our own.
Oh my God, that was so not smart. But
yeah, so we definitely... no judgment here. We definitely put ourselves in this category all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, you throw in the mix of exercise trends and fads, too, that usually went hand in glove with diet. And this was the time when exercise gurus and their videos on VHS tapes, they were really a thing.
Yeah.
They were everywhere. I mean, like... it was everywhere, and people at the time, much like social media now, people at the time, they were actually stars on TV, film, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And everybody had a video. Everybody did their thing, and people were like, oh, that's so-and-so. Yeah, I want to do aerobics because they're on there. Their face is on the cover of the VHS tape.
Yeah.
So it got to be so big of a thing, like the aerobics.
Yeah.
Because that was really the 80s thing.
That was totally 80s.
Oh my God, aerobics.
Leg warmers, head warmers,
Totally.
headbands.
Maybe we need that now. Head warmers. Yeah, that might help half of the population. I don't know. It might help these two apples. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that was peppered all throughout a lot of the pop culture offerings, the media offerings in television and film. So it was a big deal. But then we got singers, actresses, and models that back then set a standard for what beauty was, and it was clearly evident.
Yeah.
And, all the rage. So, you thought about the Gene commercials, and everybody was trim, fit and trim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then it all caught on so hotly, that's where some of these fads came into. Everybody wanted to look like their favorite model, their favorite singer or whatever, and trends can turn dangerous.
Yeah.
But, everybody loved Farrah Fawcett. Everybody loved the supermodels, which, keep your antennas up. We're going to go over some of that interesting, exciting discussion in here in a few weeks. But that really set the standard back when we were coming up.
Sure.
You look on TV and they let you know who was beautiful, who they thought. That was the standard of pretty and beautiful and everything. And we were like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to be a Charlie's Angel or whatever. But, now, currently, you can tell things have really morphed and changed. And this started, I think, probably in the mid-90s, maybe late 90s. Everything ebbs and flows. So things were changing, right?
Yeah.
And then we hit 2000. So in the aughts, the early aughts, the mid-aughts, it has exploded in what we're witnessing currently. And it's crazy. So, I don't know. One of the big changes, maybe for the better, was hair care, makeup.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you want to call it wellness, we'll call it wellness. But diet and exercise back then, now wellness. Everything seems to be scientifically backed.
Right.
Technology's gotten better. Science has gotten better.
Yeah.
So somebody back when that may have been into aerobics, like they were skinny, but they were kind of like, they weren't toned.
Yeah. Now it's about hard lines.
Yeah, and I like that. Because that's more the ideal that you thought you saw back when we were coming up versus now. Now that's what it is, but those people put work into it.
Right.
Back then, people were like, I'm going to eat a salad and I'm going to do aerobics. There's no science there. That's a good day.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, there's whole followings of these people committed to HIIT and kettlebells and cardio and it's even guys, they get into weight training and everything. They look like works of art.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it is yummy. Did I say that out loud? Yeah, they're not
yes.
with, right? Yeah. But, people have really come a long way from our 80s aerobics, because, it's fascinating what people can do when they put their mind to something, and the people come. The followers come.
Oh, yeah. They're, like you said, it's almost like a job.
Yes.
That they do this. And some people are making money off of it, too, because they're that committed, and people see them as kind of like an expert or a go-to.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
110% commitment. These are the walking poster children of what we're talking about now. And it blows your mind. It really does. But then, another catalyst in the ebb and flow and the change, the evolution of what trends become. So we were talking about supermodels and stuff being our standard of beauty. Farrah Fawcett, Daisy Duke.
Right. Oh, yeah, Daisy Duke.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. To now, everybody wants to be Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Jessica Rabbit, she did her thing. She was hot.
And that was in the 90s, wasn't it?
I think so, yes. Yes. Or no, late 80s, actually.
It was late 80s.
But she was a caricature.
Right.
And people were like, in love with this caricature. But people, there are real life Jessica Rabbits now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I find that very interesting because that is completely 180 from what we're remembering. I don't know. People basically can take a pen and paper. So we just dated ourselves again. They probably do this on their phone or whatever. Or speak out in the room and it'll jot it down for them.
Right.
But they can checklist what they want.
Mm-hmm.
I want a bigger upstairs, a bigger rack. Check. I want fuller lips. Check.
Yeah.
I want less tired looking eyes. Check. I want a full behind. Check, check, check.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
But, that's possible now.
Mm-hmm.
And that trend started like in the aughts, because let's just be honest, Hollywood, they always had this.
Yeah.
The curtain's been pulled back.
Yeah.
And now you and me and everybody else out there on Main Street, we have access to this if you got the proper connections and money.
Yeah.
But anybody can be Jessica Rabbit now. It's just bizarre to me.
Really? Yes. And it does seem to be kind of taking off for a lot of people that maybe they wouldn't have even pictured themselves that way, but because their favorite person looks like that,
Yep.
then they want to emulate it. And, it's like, oh, okay. But it's like, that's quite a commitment. You're going under the knife. This is a permanent, it should be considered permanent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's serious. You're cutting on your body.
Yeah, I know. That's just bizarre. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
no
gutsy.
Yeah. That's a hard pass there.
But so we're talking about these Jessica Rabbits, okay?
Yeah.
So now we got all these new modern Jessica Rabbits. You can see somebody like this, or your current guru, your health wellness guru, and they look perfect. They're like walking perfection.
Sure.
Because they've got it like that. So you can go to your local grocer in the produce section, and you could be standing next to a Jessica Rabbit with all the hair, nails, makeup, little eyelashes at your grocery store. Like,
right.
So Hollywood's secret, their big secret is out because anybody can look like this, okay?
Right.
But then look how obnoxious it got there. That's people that maybe a little bit, I wouldn't use the word responsible. They just have access. But it's gotten irresponsible because anybody can do this. I mean, straight up. Like, you got people that, I don't know, they went on these reality shows.
Oh, yeah, the reality shows were huge.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, at first, we were like Dr. 90210 that was on, the E! Network. They're not on anymore. But that was a pretty cool show. I was addicted to those shows. I could say.
I know you were.
Guilty pleasure. Because, like, if they're going to be gutsy to do it, I'm going to watch,
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I'll sit there and watch any of that kind of stuff. Anything surgery or anything. That's fascinating. Just won't want to do it. But then there was, like, that show. And then, so let's split it right down the middle. Then what we're talking about, our common Joe Schmo or Jane Schmo, they had the Swan. Remember that show?
I totally remember that one. Yeah.
Which wasn't a bad show. Oh, no.
Well, they did a big reveal at the end, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that one. Mm-hmm.
All their family would come in this hotel or whatever and see it because they'd been gone for like a handful of weeks.
Yeah.
And they'd all be crying and happy for them, which, that's nice because a lot of these people had very sad stories. Their self-esteem took a hit from very early on.
Yeah.
And these shows played into the ideal that your physical appearance and it can help. It can boost your spirits, but this was a little extreme.
Yeah.
And these shows were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then they weren't.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that got to be a thing where people were like, what, this is exploitation of the common human or whatever. Like, that's because really your looks, if you have them, that's fine. If you can get them or try to take care of them, that's fine. But don't put all your eggs in that basket because things can happen. You might not always look great or young or whatever.
Yeah.
We need to work on our insides.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as you were talking. It's like, how about I just want to be smarter, right? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
where's that button?
Or kinder, which
Or
society
kinder, yes.
society has torched that memo. But like plastic surgery was fascinating, but it became a trend, and it was almost a scary, unhealthy trend because how many people really jumped in on that bandwagon, and it was like people were buying shoes or candy.
Yeah.
I want this. Hey, I'll take a C, or I'll fly somewhere and do this cheaper. Like, it got bizarre.
Right. And like you said, these doctors that were, kind of like showcased on these TV shows, or the professionals that were showcased, they're probably truly expensive, astronomical prices that person on Main Street can't really afford, but they're like, I still want it. I still want that.
Yeah.
So they will go someplace where it's a lot cheaper, that's probably, it doesn't have the backing that it needs to with all the seals and the degrees on the wall. It doesn't have all that.
We've heard horror stories.
Right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they just kind of disappeared.
They did. And, like with all this, that was, we didn't mention this, we're not going to go long on it, because, that was another trend, kind of in the aughts and stuff, but, like the bariatric surgery, where people were just like, I'll just get surgery and change that way. Like we know a few people that did that, and it was like it wasn't good. It didn't turn out for them because they're not here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, like, it shows how we get sucked up into these trends and stuff because, we're just like so wanting something to be different for us or our loved ones that we just don't really think deeply about the consequences of those type of decisions.
And definitely the instant, I need it now.
Oh, yeah, that's the kind of society we are.
Yeah.
But now, because of all that rash thinking and everything, now we've gotten to the point where there's a show that is also a guilty pleasure. These two plastic surgeons in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Called Botched. So this is all these people that, they're fixing and helping.
Right.
Because they have sad stories. They need help. And these two nice doctors, very kind plastic surgeons, they have a whole empire, this show, off of helping these people that just
want to get kind of back to normal.
Yeah, and they didn't think long. They just wanted the quick fix. They wanted the excitement from looking better, feeling better, being trendy, being Jessica Rabbit.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's just amazing the things that we will put ourselves through, and all in the name of thinness, beauty, and glitz and glamour. But that's the society we live in. You pay, you play.
And it would be interesting to do like a survey and find out how many, because we know that weddings are like big business and babies are big business. Does health and beauty surpass that? What is the highest amount of money being made out there in these industries? Because this one is huge. A lot of money spent.
Yeah. Well, we're about to wrap up our discussion, but one more trend that's kind of like interesting as well is the new, everybody still wanted to be Jessica Rabbit and shapely and everything, but now people are just like, you know what, I'm a big girl or I'm a big guy. So now it's lately, probably the last, 3-4 years, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
They've been kind of encouraging the body positivity, which I kind of agree with that just per se because, if you are, because a lot of people are struggling with health problems and stuff,
Right.
Don't get all caught up in the physical, we said that things can change for you and there you are.
Right.
Work on your inner person. But I think that it's kind of a little, the body positivity is kind of almost like, it's not just being confident and positive. It's almost like
the pendulum swing.
Yeah. I think it's unswung too far the other way. Like some of these people are not healthy looking. That they're out there. They're the face of this movement, body positivity. So, it is what it is. And kids are influenced by it.
Yeah.
Young teenagers are influenced by it. It's just, we really got to use our noodles.
And like you said, if you don't like what's happening right now, stick around. It'll be changing and morphing again.
Yeah, Mom might not be around, We're getting moved to the back.
Yes.
But yeah, this has been an interesting discussion this week. So thanks for joining us for part 2. Like Coop says, there's always going to be a lot of pendulum swinging. So, just keep your antennas up to see what comes to the future near you.
And that's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Subscribe, rate, and review. And check us out on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Bye for now. Way to retro.